Go Hogs! Yes, sir!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers!
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
It is my pleasure to offer you the opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Arkansas.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo Pig Suey.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Boy, it's already been a pretty big day as far as coaching moves are concerned. Looks like 2 NFL teams have found their coaches. That's going to leave one college program screwed over, and it might not be the one you're thinking of. With Matt Rule leaving Baylor, Baylor's still in a pretty good situation. Who the heck is Mississippi State going to hire? Apparently they were going to look pretty heavily on former Bulldog Joe Judge, who'd been an assistant at New England for the last couple of years. Judge now taking the Giants job, although reports are just saying this. It hasn't been announced yet, but these reports usually do turn to be true. It seemed that Matt Rule was expected to take the job with the Giants. He crossed everybody up, takes the job with Carolina. The Giants really like Judge. They're going to hire him. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. If you're Mississippi State, you had your sights set on one guy who, remember we said this yesterday, Ty, it seemed one of the big things about Judge, aside from the fact that he's probably a darn good football coach, is that he really wanted the job at Mississippi State, his alma mater, a place that he thought he could win and maybe get the Bulldogs back to those legendary Dan Mullen years of bowl game year after year and occasionally a 10-win season. Who the heck is Mississippi State going to hire now? Where are they going to look? I guess that's what happens in coaching searches. It's somewhat rare that you get your first choice, your second choice, third choice sometimes. This felt like a theme for Arkansas. I don't know exactly where Sam Pittman fell on the list as far as preference of which coach you'd like to hire. I think from what we've seen, it's been a pretty good first month for Sam Pittman. Mm-hmm. For Mississippi State, the search goes on, and it's going to be a difficult thing for them to find somebody to, I think, take that gig. You think Baylor's in a much different position than Mississippi State. They've got a roster that's young and ready to roll. They are a program certainly on the upward swing. Maybe Mississippi State should have been better than 7 wins this year or 6 wins this year and another bowl game loss. But with the maybe outsized expectations now in Starkville, it's going to be a tough place to find a good head coach who's got a track record of winning programs.
So obviously I'm connected to Baylor because my dad, my uncle, and my cousin went there, so I was getting their thoughts this morning. They're very disappointed, and you got to point to the fact that he's going to get more money. And the figures on his salary, Adam Schefter had it, and it was pretty high. I think it was like $70 million over 6 or 7 years, if I remember that correctly. He doesn't have to recruit, but for Baylor, based on who, and again, I don't have hardly any like in-depth connections when in terms of like recruiting and who they're talking to and stuff. But my dad and others seem to be under the belief that they might hire within, which probably isn't a terrible idea based on what that program is and where it is right now and how Matt Rule was really able to turn it around. It seems like they have a good amount of solid assistance on there, but for Mississippi State, you can't hire within. I mean, you fire Joe Moorhead, that's not the way to go. It's a completely different situation where Matt Rule, because of his success, takes another job, takes an NFL gig for that matter. And this is kind of beneficial for Arkansas, Phil. That's how you have to look at it. Mississippi State, a team that's beaten you in the SEC West the last couple of years, not necessarily a rival, but a team that you have to compete against recruiting, that you have to compete against on a yearly basis. They don't have a coach right now. This is not good for their recruiting standpoint and just for the team projection moving forward. And then at Baylor, I mean, perfect example. One of the guys that you're going after, Malik Hornsby, 4-star quarterback. Baylor looked like the landing spot for him. Now Matt Rule leaves. that's probably no longer going to be the case. It looks like that he could potentially end up at Arkansas. He's got an official visit the 24th through the 26th, which I think Arkansas fans should be heavily interested in if he could end up an Arkansas Razorback. But these coaching searches, whether it's in proximity to Arkansas or in their own division, that's nothing but good news for Razorback fans, man. You got to love that when a team hasn't figured out what they're doing at the head coach position yet.
And here it is in the early portion of January.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Arkansas fans can teach a class about awkward moments for getting rid of a coach with now with Bob Petrino. Early April, looking for a head coach. Yeah, that's never going to be a very good thing. You can understand it this time of the year. Coaches will make the jump out of college to the NFL, so it does leave whoever they leave behind. A recruiting class that's wondering who the next guy is going to be, and a time where you got to focus on recruiting and your incoming recruits because now so many kids enroll in January, and essentially the spring season starts with the new semester. Mississippi State in a very difficult spot. How about Matt Rule, though? How about this? I mean, even when Arkansas was looking for a job, we had a lot of our listeners send in texts and calls saying pay him as much as you can to get rid of the buyout with him. This is the guy who's turned around programs, and he's done that now at two places, taking Temple from a 2-10 record his first year to back-to-back 10-win years, and we already know what he's done with Baylor, gotten them back to where they were kind of under Art Briles, under much more better circumstances, I think, to root for. Without question. And now a head coach in the NFL, and he could have had his choice, essentially. It felt like that. The Giants wanted him badly. The Browns wanted an interview with him. I think Rule turned them down. And taking Carolina, where the first thing you got to figure out now is, what are you going to do about Cam Newton? Who's going to be your quarterback? You got one of the best running backs in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. Hey, I mean, this guy knows how to turn things around anyway. He's done it at the college level, but it's a whole different thing in the NFL.
And I'm wondering, Phil, with him departing out east to go take that Carolina Panthers job, we've talked about maybe the potential of Arkansas swooping in and snagging a Mississippi State recruiter too. What about the possibility of a Baylor? Since some of these guys that signed in the early signing period, could they get out of their national letter of intent based on the head coach that they were designated to play for is no longer in Waco? Could they possibly get out in Arkansas target? We just mentioned Malik Hornsby, who is not committed, or he previously committed to North Carolina, then decommitted, but he has not signed anywhere yet. Maybe there's some other guys on the Baylor roster that Sam Pittman and his staff could go after. And I just think what he did at Baylor, and you cataloged it here on a rundown, going from 1-11 to 11-3, the only 3 losses this season, twice to Oklahoma and in Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. I mean, that's spectacular turnaround to where Baylor was, how toxic that environment was for a head coach to come in and do what he was able to do. And I get it. I heard Brett and Tommy and John talking about it this morning. It's the Big 12. It's a little bit easier. The fertile recruiting ground in Texas makes his job against easier, but he's having to recruit against Texas, Oklahoma, and all these other different Texas schools when Baylor was just a waste dump at the time. No one wanted to be around that, and yet he was able to get it done. You're hoping the blueprint's not going to be the exact same, but you're hoping maybe Sam Pittman can get a little insight from that. And again, it's the SEC. It's that much more difficult, but there can be some things that he can go about. He can fall that hopefully gets Arkansas football back on track, Phil.
It was also a situation for Rule at Baylor where he was a geographic outsider. I mean, he was born in New York, raised in State College, Pennsylvania, played his college ball at Penn State. He's from nowhere near Texas. He did not have the recruiting connections that everybody wants to talk about in Texas as being so important when you are a head coach in the Big 12 or at Arkansas or even at LSU in some places that do try to recruit in the Lone Star State. He didn't have any of those connections. He's a Pennsylvania guy. He's a Northeast guy. He won in the Northeast at Temple, and then he did it at Baylor, which is a whole other thing. It's shocking, actually. I mean, you would expect a guy like that to have a ton of success in the NFL, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't always work that way. It doesn't. I mean, who did we? The only coaches I know of that came out of college to win the Super Bowl were Pete Carroll and Barry Switzer. That's the only ones I can think of. I know Jim Harbaugh, who was at Stanford before San Francisco, coached in the Super Bowl. He didn't win it. Look, I'm not saying that the only way you can be a successful head coach is to win a Super Bowl, but that is the ultimate goal at the end. What other college coaches have had successful NFL careers? But now's the time to give it a try at the age of 44, especially when you're going to be making, about $10 million per year.
Yeah.
So go for it, Matt Rule. More power to you.
My cousin's just texted me. He's like, y'all aren't getting Malik Hornsby. I have hope.
You think so? He thinks so.
Yeah,
he's just trying to pump you up a little bit.
As a Baylor graduate, so I don't know how true. But again, he's got his official visit coming up to Fayetteville, the 24th through the 26th. I'm wondering, Phil, and we'll get into this in just a bit. I'm wondering how many football players have their official visit scheduled for next weekend. And again, we'll get in that conversation because I know a lot of basketball players do. I wonder if they can get some guys up on the hill for that Kentucky atmosphere next week so we can see what Arkansas fans are actually like.
Basketball. I think there's some basketball going on tomorrow at LSU. The SEC does start midweek play today. We'll talk some basketball after the break.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
It's amazing the defense that Arkansas basketball is playing right now. I just don't see in any way they ever get blown out by any team in this conference. They're no longer going to go on the road and get blown out by 20, 25 points like you've seen previously. This defense and what Eric Musselman has been able to coach these guys to do is what's going to carry them into having a lot of success once SEC play really gets rolling.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
This is Mark Hurst. How important is your smile? I recently read a study that said 61% of adults are attracted to someone by their smile alone. Another said that 48% of adults have untagged themselves from a photo on Facebook because of their smile. At Hurst Family Dental Care, we want you to be proud of your smile. Give us a call at 474-1972 and let us talk to you about improving your smile with cosmetic dentistry options ranging from in-office bleaching to braces to porcelain crowns and veneers. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
Jody'sAuto.com sells tires, lots of tires, the best tire brands, at the same prices as the Warehouse Club or Big Tire Chain Store. Price match guarantee. But at Jody'sAuto.com, it's the people. They know tires. They can help you find the best tire for your vehicle at a price you'll want to pay and financing. Free flat repair to everyone. Free road hazard when you buy 4 tires. Can't get that at the club or chain. But Jody'sAuto.com does way more. 3 oil change specials, 1 for every budget. 3 locations, 2 in Fort Smith, 1 in Van Buren. And they do everything, all services, all maintenance, all tires, even towing and fleets. One stop for everything, Jody'sAuto.com. Can't get any of that at the club or chain. Voted best of the best by the customers. Since 1984, one stop, convenience and trust, Jody'sAuto.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Is it time for a new printer? When looking for that new printer, you'll consider the new technology available, but also reliability, quality, cost, and access to service and supplies are important. With eConcierge from Dixie Digital and Xerox, you get free lifetime service coverage for your eligible Xerox printers, plus an easy way to order toner and ink. For more information, call Dixie Digital Imaging at 783-6600 or visit our website at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
What's your family's security worth to you? Have you put off adding a security system to your home for another year? Or are you just waiting for someone to break in to be that final straw? Use your income tax return to add a security system to your home for as little as $495 and $15.95 a month. Guardtronic has a package to help secure your home. Call today for a free estimate, 479-785-2323, or visit the website, guardtronic.com. License EO50.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Are you looking for a new place to call home? Whether you're looking for an apartment, duplex, townhome, or a house, Trinity Multifamily has you covered. They even have options in surrounding states, from Texas to Michigan and Kansas to Tennessee. If you're looking for a new place to call home, make Trinity Multifamily your first call at 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Shot clock's at 10. Jones forces a three, and it goes anyway. Wow, Mason Jones with a three. Arkansas is up 67-62. Archie Miller wants a timeout with 2:01 to go.
So there was one coach that I left off that list, and probably the most successful of the coaches who made the jump from college football first and then heading to the NFL, Jimmy Johnson. And I remember bringing him up last week when we first talked about this, because he's really been, he was the most successful. And I mean, of course, when you look at it, isn't there some truth to the thought that Barry Switzer won with Jimmy Johnson's team? There could be some truth to that, especially that they still haven't won a Super Bowl since then, and certainly didn't under Barry Switzer. So, Jimmy Johnson won. I know it was a couple of, I think at least one or two national titles at Miami before he made the jump to the NFL. And, I mean, he didn't rebuild Miami because he had taken a program that Howard Schnellenberger had built into a national powerhouse, and he kept it at that level. And might have even gotten them to a little bit higher of a level. That's really, for me, like when the U was built. The swagger of those Miami Hurricane teams was under Jimmy Johnson. And then he takes over a Dallas Cowboys team that just stunk. Maybe the worst Cowboys team in the history of that football team. 1-15 his first year. And was it that year that they drafted Emmitt Smith?
Because correct me if I'm wrong, they traded Herschel Walker for a bunch of draft picks.
Right, for
That's
7 or 8 draft picks.
And Emmitt Smith, and was Troy Aikman also a part of the that was drafted because of those draft picks? I'm kind of going beyond my time here. I'm showing my age, but I believe that's correct. I know for a fact that Emmitt Smith was a part of one of those picks that they were able to receive, but I can't remember if Aikman was part of that package deal or not. So...
Yeah, it would take too long to look back and double check this here. Although, the internet really does some pretty incredible things. Was it 91 they had all those picks? They got Aikman in 89. They got Irvin the year before. And when did Emmitt Smith? Emmitt Smith was in the 1990 draft. They got all of those other picks in the Herschel Walker trade from 91. In 91, they draft Alvin Harper, Russell Maryland. They got... Who am I seeing here? Larry Brown, who eventually won the Super Bowl MVP with a couple of interceptions, and that was part of what helped build them up. Eric Williams in that 91 draft. Those were some of the great names. So Jimmy Johnson's at the front of that list, along with Barry Switzer and then Pete Carroll. Although Carroll's coaching story is not finished. He's got plenty of time to go, and who knows, he might have something special with Seattle this year.
Big game in Lambeau this week, and that's going to be a fun one. And we were talking about yesterday, I couldn't remember who Seattle was facing off against, and then you brought up the fact that Russell Wilson did not know prior to that game who would they face off if they won. He said in the post-game interview, and I'm forgetting who the interviewer was, but he said, I didn't even know who it was, so I guess we got a good game against Aaron at Lambeau. I mean, it's fun. Russell Wilson is just such a fun quarterback to watch, and obviously he has the Wisconsin connection where he played in Madison for Brett Bielema that 1 year, so it's going to be, there's a lot of people in Green Bay that really still do like him, but I don't know if that's going to be the case necessarily on Sunday when they face off against each other, Phil.
Okay, SEC back. By the way, 877-377-6963. I am remiss if I wait 19 minutes into the show to finally give our phone number.